Hello everyone and welcome back once again. In this video, I will be taking through one of the projects that we are currently working on. And in this one, we are going to be using machine learning essentially for predictive analytics. So we're going to see how we can apply the machine learning algorithms. And in this case, okay, specific for this case will be enhancing lead conversions with the predictive analytics. So I'm just going to take you through an overview of what the entire project will be covering and maybe present to you the steps and maybe whatever we will be including into this project. Once again, I'm very grateful to have you back once again, and let's get started. So essentially, this is we are working with a school, so this is skill up academy. This is just a name that I've tried to coin up so that we are able to illustrate the entire process of using those algorithms. So this is a skill up academy, and this school essentially provides online courses for different industry professionals. So essentially that is what they do. They curate these different courses and they try to sell to the different industry professionals. So they are obviously using different multiple marketing channels, and through these channels they are able to generate hundreds of leads daily. So one of the problems that Skill Up is facing is that the market is quite competitive, and due to that reason, there is the cost of acquiring prospects or clients is quite high, and since the acquisition costs are quite high, then there is obviously there is that need to maybe try to prioritize the leads that they are working on to try and maybe cut on that cost. So their current lead prioritization strategy is quite arbitrary, leading to a lot of inefficiencies, meaning that they are not able to categorize the different leads that they're getting, to maybe categorize those into their respective classes and maybe pursue those leads that will quite generate a lot of revenues for that. So essentially, due to that misallocation of resources and inefficiencies, we see that they are missing a lot of revenue from delayed and follow up from delays and following up on their most important prospects. And also, this is a lot of strain to the sales team because they tend to lose morale and productivity because they are not able to close the deal as quickly as possible. One of the things that we noticed about Scale Up is that although the industry conversion rate is about 60 to 70% based on those courses that they are currently providing. Their conversion rate is quite low, about 30%. So that is one of the reasons that maybe using this predictive analytics is very important to try maybe and increase that conversion rates. So we have currently gone through some of the data that they currently have, but we have not yet dived deeper into that data so far. But based on what we have done in the preliminary analysis, then I'm going to take you through now lead insights and behaviors. So we are going to look at the sources and the conversion insights that we have discovered so far. On the lead source, you can see that website and search engines contribute about 60% of the leads. So these are from Google and different search engines. So this at about 60% of the entire leads come from this. And from this here, we can see about 35% of the leads coming from website and search engine actually convert. When you're talking of referrals, that's about 30% of the leads is through referrals. So those people that have already gone through those courses, so they just refer their friends and colleagues. We can see a higher percent of conversion rate when we are looking at the referrals, about 50%, and through various other channels. So there are other channels, you can see 10% of the leads are from those channels, and there we can see about 15% conversion rates. So that's about the lead source. What about the behavioral patterns based on these leads? So we saw that leads watching demo videos show 2 times higher chance of a conversion. And if those prospects were able to interact with different with the multiple touch points, 45% of those actually did convert to become paying students, while 25% of those converted to become paying students when just interacting with a single touch point. And when you're looking at the different age group, you can see that about 25 to 34%, that age group there is where we most of those prospects tend to convert, about 45% when you're looking at the age demographics. So earlier on, we saw that a skill up is facing a lot of problems when it's trying to sort up through the different prospects and try to pursue them accordingly. Okay, so we can see that 40% of the effort is spent on unqualified leads, with about only 5% of the conversion rates. So there is a lot of problems because they're not able to categorize their leads based on the probability that they're going to convert. Also, because of that delay, you can see that there is also a delay in terms of follow up. That means they're missing the most prospective leads, and those are the missing opportunities that a skill up is facing. Then, when they miss these opportunities, then their competitors, they're just waiting around. They just sweep in and gain those potential uh, perspectives. And that one is a major problem when we are looking at the bottom line or a return on investment. Because earlier on we said that we saw that the acquisition cost is quite high. So we want to, even though we have high acquisition cost, we try to match that with converting as many prospective students as possible. Okay, so uh, we are going to come up now with a predictive lead scoring solution to try and maybe sort these leads into the different categories, because depending on this on the probability of conversion, we're going to maybe allocate different types of resources or pursue those prospective students differently. So we are going to develop a predictive model for this, and generally we are going to be using historic data. So this historic leads data will include the demographics, behaviors of the different prospects, and also the different sales interactions that SkillUp has already been using so far. And based on this data, we are going to leverage machine learning algorithms, and we're going to use these so that we're able to build a robust data-driven lead scoring model. And if you ask, what is this model going to do? This is what the model is going to do. So with the predictive skills scoring model, we're going to assign scores between 0 to 100. For this course will be depending on the conversion likelihood of the different perspective that will be interacting with the different with the website or the with all calls and all that. So we're going to see how we are going to group those, assign maybe a probability, ensuring that this is a probability that this prospect will tend to convert to become a paying student. So for the hot leads, this will be about 80 to 100%. So this one, we are going to classify this if entirely they're going to show a highly conversion probability. Warm leads, we're going to classify warm leads. This will be about 50 to 70, maybe just lower than 80%. So that one will be the medium conversion probability. And any uh, less than 30, the low conversion probability less than 30, that one will be classified as a cold lead. So with the hot, warm, and the cold leads, we'll be using, of course, we'll be using different types of techniques to try and pursue those leads. But more effort, we're going to place more effort on the sorry, on the 80, if the conversion likelihood is about 80% to 100. So this is maybe a diagram illustrating how that model will tend to work. So we'll be outsourcing data from different channels. So then we'll be passing that through a machine learning model. Then that will be now us training the model so that we're able to deploy this model to work in production. So once the model is in production, you can see that big funnel. Under here, we'll be getting new leads from websites. Okay, then that leads will be passing through the model that we have curated using the historic data. Then from there, we are going to score those leads, either maybe 80%, 70%, less than 30%, Then after scoring those leads, we are able to classify now our leads to the hot leads, warm leads, or the cold leads. And then from there, after we have done that segmentation, we are now able to take appropriate action based on the likelihood that this prospective client is going to convert to become a paying student. Okay, so this is a chart that one of the things that we want to be working with. So essentially, we have the metric, the current state, and the target state. When you're looking at the lead acquisition cost, it's about $50 per lead. We try to maintain that as of now. We don't want to change that much. Then the daily leads generated, uh, SkillUp currently is generating about 100 leads a day. Again, so keeping that constant, so keeping the acquisition cost constant as of now. And also daily leads generated, assuming that we are going to be also about 100 leads daily. Now, the conversion rate for SkillUp currently is about 30%. So we want to, the target state, or what we want to achieve at the end of this is to target about 80%. So instead of just getting from the 100 leads, we are only getting 30 that are converting to become paying students. We want to increase that from 30 to about 80 leads a day. So those are the students that will be converting now to become paying students. So the leads conversion uplift from that we can see is about 50% of that. So we want to target a 50% increase in terms of the leads of this of the prospects now becoming our paying students, utilizing the different courses that we are offering. So, what is our action plan? So, having known or understood what we are going to be doing under this, so what is the action plan and the implementation steps that we are going to be doing? So, the first thing is the data collection and cleaning. So far, we have done a lot of data collection. Actually, we are almost in the process of data cleaning. So, this one is just like the preliminary findings that we got from our data. So, once we dive deeper and get to understand the data properly, we're able to come up with a more elaborate uh, uh, a model so far. Then after that, we're going to develop the model. So this one, we're going to be using our classification algorithms so that we're able to classify our leads based on the three classes: the hot lead, the warm lead, and the cold lead. Then after that, that's now will be the lead scoring segmentation. And after that, we are going to also include in the sales team, and maybe they are now being able to integrate this with the sales team to see how the different ways we're able to pursue the different prospects based on their likelihood of conversion. And once we're done with that, we're also making sure that we also include the performance monitoring. So we'll set up the different KPIs that will be tracking through this entire process. And tracking that will ensure that as time goes by, we're able to improve our model and so on. So that will be the action plan and project deliverables. So at the end of this, again, we are going to be delivering an automated predictive lead scoring workflow. So the entire workflow from where we are getting our data until the prediction and how those predictions are going to affect the marketing teams, the sales teams, and all that. So we also produce the sales team training materials that's on how they're going to be using the model, the interpretations for the model, and all that. Then we also make sure to introduce a performance tracking dashboard so that we're able to track the most important KPIs during the entire process. When, of course, when developing the model and also when we have deployed that model. Documentation and training for continuous model usage and improvement. Of course, those are the things that we tend to also include in the entire process, and also the standardized follow-up protocols in case there is any flaws of the system and all that. So we'll try to introduce those things and maybe train all those people that are going to be using the same system. So essentially, that is what we are going to be covering under this project. And it is at this time, maybe if you can maybe ask questions, but you can ask questions at this moment, then I'll be very happy to take you through any queries and concerns that you might have at this moment. So that's it. That's it from me. And maybe I'll meet you next time when we are trying to develop the MVP, the viable product before we even start the deployment process. Thank you for your time, and see you in the next one.